was Development of Children's Ability to Distinguish Sarcasm and Verbal Irony by Melanie Glenwright and Penny M. Pexman. So my research question was, when do children first become sensitive to the availability of a specific target as a cue to distinguish sarcasm and irony? When do children appreciate and understand the difference of sarcasm and irony? Main goal. The main goal was to investigate whether 5 to 6-year-old children and 9 to 10-year-old children distinguish between sarcastic criticisms and ironic criticism in order to examine the development of this distinction. Participants. There were a total of 71 5 to 6-year-olds, which were 34 boys and 37 girls, 71 9 to 10-year-olds, 41 boys and 30 girls. Children in the younger age group were recruited from the kindergarten and first grade class, and the older children were taken from the 5th and 6th grade classrooms. All of the children were middle class and all spoke English as their primary language at home. Children's understanding of sarcastic speech. There is evidence that children begin to comprehend their sarcastic speaker's non-literal meaning and pragmatic intent to ridicule or to be mean around the age of 6. The ability to use these cues and to appreciate the social functions of sarcasm continues to develop through middle childhood, and there is evidence that this ability is still improving at the age of 12 or 13. Measures. Each child watched a total of 9 puppet shows containing 3 non-literal criticisms, 3 literal criticisms, and 3 literal compliments. 9 versions of the material were devised so that each puppet show was depicted with every statement and topic condition across participants, which within each version, the puppet show order was randomized. Children were presented with puppet shows depicting situations where 1. A speaker commented on a specific target failure to meet an expectation. 2. A speaker commented on a non-specific target's failure to meet a expectation, which is for irony. First, the children were asked to rate the speaker's attitude for sarcastic criticisms and ironic criticisms by indicating how nice or mean they viewed the speaker's puppet intentions to be making in the remark. Second, the children were asked to indicate whether they identified more with the speaker or target listener in the puppet show. Third, the children were asked to justify or explain their identification response. Procedure. These children were trained on the nice, mean rating scale, which went from, there was a chart with different faces, which they had to point at, which depicted very nice, nice, a little bit mean, mean, and very mean. After each puppet show, the children were asked several questions with specific wording adapted to the relevant condition and show. For example, speaker belief question. Participants were asked whether the speaker meant that he or she to assess as whether children interpreted the speaker's statement as a compliment or criticism, such as when one of the speakers or the speaker said, when Mike said, "This is a great trampoline." Did he think that Dave's new trampoline was a good trampoline or bad, or how did he mean it? Did he mean it a good way, bad way, sarcastic? Speaker attitude. Rate the attitude of the speaker based on the nice or mean scale, which was the happy faces, sad faces that they had to point at the nice, mean, very mean chart. 3. Identification. Pick which puppet caught their attention most and acted like them. I don't know why they had to choose what they felt acted like them. But number 4, identification, justification. The children were asked why they made that specific choice. Materials. 9 puppet show scenarios, puppets, and the recordings were dialogues that were pre-recorded by a narrator that was specialized in making these recordings for these specialized tests, where they high-pitched their voice, intensified, exaggerated, so that the children can distinguish if it's sarcastic or irony. Hypothesis. The children were not expected to be familiar with the terms sarcasm and irony, but rather that they would have other perceptions of personal and non-personal criticism. With emerging appreciation of non-literal language, they predicted that the younger children would not show recognition of this distinction between sarcasm and irony. They predicted that 9 to 10-year-olds, however, would be more proficient at comprehending non-literal language, and that this proficiency would be demonstrated by higher accuracy of appraisals of the non-literal speaker's belief. They hypothesized that justification from the younger group would express comparable levels of disapproval for all non-literal criticisms, whereas justifications from the older age group would express high levels of disapproval for sarcastic criticisms than for the ironic criticisms. Results show that although 5 to 6-year-old children are beginning to show modest accuracy, inferring speaker belief for sarcastic criticisms and ironic criticisms, they do not distinguish these speech acts. Younger kids, for some reason, don't understand the meaning of sarcasticness. They just develop it later on. As in contrast, results show that children 9 to 10-year-olds distinguish sarcasm and irony. Although at 12 and 13, they're still developing it and getting better at it and better to distinguish if it's sarcastic or irony. Overall, the results from both age groups indicate that children become more sensitive to the distinction between sarcasm and irony somewhere between the ages of 6 and 9 years old. Analysis. Although their method of testing this sensitivity were through puppet shows and indicating what they thought of each scenario and each statement and how they said it, there are many more developmental tests to further investigate children's expression of different ironies. As in, maybe if they did other specific tests, maybe the results would be different. And here are my references, and that is all.